So the concept of now negotiating and getting a contract in place, do you have anything on your website that helps people out, points them in the right direction, stuff, stuff that they can do to ensure that they've actually got a contract? Because I would imagine it is a bit of a foreign territory for people to just call up the lawyer and say, hey, have you done this before? And they'll go like, yeah, sure we have. And they may not have, right? It's resources. Where could people go to find that sort of info?
Well, let me tell you how this unfolds first. You submit an idea to a company, and they're going to call. Eventually, if they like it, they're going to call you back, and they're going to say, "Look, Steve, we're looking at your idea." If they call you back, the dance starts.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just so we know, the dance has started. They might call. They might call and say, "Steve, we're interested. We'd like to know a little bit more about what you're looking for." Okay. And I might say, "Look, I'm looking to license my idea. I'm not a manufacturer, and I'm looking at collecting a royalty." And they'll say, great, what royalty are you looking for? Now, I know that I'm just not going to pull a number out of the air. That's not right. I turn it now, and I ask them, before I come up with that royalty rate, in fact, what I like to do is send you a term sheet before we go to a contract, if it goes to a contract. And these term sheets, we're really kind of happy with each other at this point, and this is type of like getting to know one another and what we're really looking for. So a term sheet is really simple. A term sheet might have the royalty rate, what I'm looking for. It might have a minimum guarantees. We'll talk about that in a minute. The territory, some really basic stuff. Now, when they ask me, Steve, what are you looking for? I ask them now, tell me a little bit more about your business, so I can come back with an appropriate royalty rate.
Yes.
See, what I'm looking for, I want to find out what stores are you currently selling product in. And so I ask them, and they might tell me, well, we sell at Walmart or Target or whatever stores. And from that information, I can now go Google how many stores how many Walmarts there are, Kmarts. So now I know, okay, 20, 30,000 stores. Perfect. Then I might ask them, all right, I think the wholesale price is going to be this amount. With the wholesale price of my product, how many stores, now I can myself do the math of what a 3% royalty rate would be, a 4%, 5%, 7%. And now I can see how much money we're talking about, right? So I can come back to them now and say, look, I would like a 7% royalty rate because I've done the math, right? Now, maybe I can accept a 3% because the volume is huge. But without doing the numbers, we're all guessing. Realize this: they're going to sell one a week. If a store cannot sell one a week, they're going to kick your idea to the curb pretty fast. So if I know how many stores, I know the wholesale price, and selling one a week, I can do the math and come back to them. But here's the kicker, you guys. All of them are going to want an exclusive, right? They're all going to want to own it. I love that. So I might ask them, are you looking for an exclusive? And so when they say, yes, we are, I write that down. So I put this term sheet. Are you going to sell just here in Canada, Mexico, United States? Oh, you want worldwide? I put that down. Everything has value now. So when I send them the term sheet, it's how we're going to play together. And if we can all agree to these basic terms, at that point now, we can go to a contract. Now contracts, which are really fun, we teach a class in contracts. Everybody's always asked, let me see a contract. You have to realize contracts, they're like cars. They're all different. They get you to point A to point B, but they're all different. So you have to recognize there's just certain terms in a contract, and you can Google licensing contracts, and you're going to see basically it's boilerplate. How long the contract's going to be for, what are we licensing, the minimum guarantees. I want to talk about this for just a minute. If you're going to give someone the rights, an exclusive to your idea, you have to make sure there's some minimum guarantees. That means that they have to sell so many that's going to generate revenue for you. It's a guarantee of them selling it. It's a performance clause. And the reason why you need that, because if they don't sell any, if you have minimum guarantees or performance clause, they have to give it back to you if they don't sell any. So it's really risk-free for you. Now, I make the minimum guarantees really low the first year. I make them really teeny the first year. And then the second year, I make it a little bit bigger. And the third year, I make them really big. How do I determine the minimum guarantees? When they tell me how many stores they're in, I can do the math, and I can see that, and I'll take 25% of what I think they can sell and make that the minimum. You see, so these are things to protect you, and there's other little things in contracts. And there's one thing I want everybody to hear. You're always going to have one clause in your contract of improvements. Any improvement they make, you own.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to make improvements. And I always slide that in a little bit later. I don't do it at the very beginning. So getting back to the term sheet, we all agree to the terms. They're most likely going to write the contract up. They're going to send it to you, and you're going to panic because you're going to see this thing is going to be really thick. That's when you're going to go over all of it, understand some business terms. You might call a licensing attorney to go over it with you a little bit to give you some information. But you have to kind of jump in a little bit and read it. Like anything else, you need to educate yourself. And I talk about it in the book. I go through all the terms in the book. And if people ask for contracts, I even send them some too, if they ask for it to see one. And